Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. This time, we're going to be looking at a recent article from space.com.
Oh, cool.
About an upcoming SpaceX Starlink launch.
Awesome.
So, as always, I'm joined by my expert co-host.
Hey, everywhere.
And I think this is going to be a pretty exciting one to get into.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a good one.
So this launch is coming up on January 21st.
Okay.
From Vandenberg Space Force Base in California.
Vandenberg, yeah, that's a good spot for, especially for polar orbit launches.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Andover. It's happening at 10:24 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
All right.
And SpaceX will be live streaming this event.
Oh, awesome, as always.
Yeah.
It's great that they do that.
Yeah.
It makes it nice and accessible.
Yeah, for sure. So this mission is going to be carrying 27 Starlink satellites.
Yeah, another 27.
Which, just to remind everyone.
Part of this massive constellation.
Yeah. That they're building to provide global broadband coverage.
Yeah.
Particularly in underserved areas of the world.
Yeah, think about really remote places.
Yeah.
Like little villages.
Exactly.
In the middle of nowhere.
Or, like a research station in Antarctica or something.
Right, yeah. So it's pretty cool that, they're really trying to, like you were saying, provide internet access to everyone.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a hugely ambitious project.
Yeah.
And it has a lot of potential to really transform how people connect and access information.
For sure. Okay, so this Falcon 9,
yeah,
it'll be making its 10th launch and landing.
10th? Wow.
I know.
That's a busy booster.
Yeah, so...
it's great to see this level of reusability. It's a real testament to SpaceX's commitment to making spaceflight more sustainable and cost-effective.
Yeah, I mean, could you imagine back in the, like the 60s or something?
Oh, yeah.
They just threw the whole rocket away.
It's chucking entire rockets into the ocean. Yeah.
Yeah.
A very different world.
Crazy. So they're definitely really pushing the boundaries there. And it's
good.
It's good for the environment. And it's good for, the bottom line.
The cost of space access is definitely coming down thanks to those efforts.
For sure. Okay, so 7 out of its 9 previous flights were also Starlink missions.
Yeah, so this booster is a real workhorse for the Starlink program.
I mean, how often are they launching these things?
Well, this is already the 10th Falcon 9 launch of 2025.
10th already?
And in 2024, they launched over 130 missions.
Jeez. So, I mean, it's like...
So they're really ramping things up.
Yeah, they're really stepping on the gas when it comes to space access.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible to see the pace of progress.
So, I mean, what does all this mean for the future of, global internet access?
Well, that's a big question, and there are a lot of different factors to consider.
Okay, well, let's dive into that after a quick break. We'll be right back to unpack all of that and talk about the broader implications of this, rapidly expanding Starlink constellation.
Absolutely.
So stay tuned. So we were talking about the broader implications of Starlink before the break.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that people are concerned about is space debris.
Absolutely. With more and more satellites being launched, the risk of collisions and the creation of more debris is a growing concern.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like like a chain reaction.
It's like a cascade effect.
Yeah.
You get one collision and it creates a bunch of fragments, and then those fragments can cause more collisions and so on.
And then you end up with this, cloud of...
Yeah, a real mess.
Yeah.
And it's not just a theoretical problem either. We've already seen some close calls and a few actual collisions.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a serious issue, and it's something that needs to be addressed.
So, I mean, are there? Is SpaceX doing anything to, mitigate this risk?
Well, they're definitely aware of the problem,
Yeah.
and they're taking some steps to try to mitigate it.
Okay.
For example, their Starlink satellites are equipped with collision avoidance systems.
Oh, okay. So they can, maneuver out of the way.
Exactly. They can detect potential collisions and then fire their thrusters to adjust their orbit and avoid the debris.
That's good.
Yeah, it's a good start, but it's not a perfect solution.
Right, because what about, at the end of their life? Do they just stay up there?
That's another important consideration. SpaceX has plans to deorbit the satellites at the end of their operational life.
Okay, so they basically crash them back into the atmosphere.
Well, not crash exactly. They use their thrusters to guide them back into the atmosphere where they burn up upon re-entry.
Okay, so they basically...
Self-destruct.
In a controlled way.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
So they don't become part of the space debris problem.
Right.
But It's an ongoing challenge and one that requires international cooperation and continued technological development.
Right, because it's not just a SpaceX problem, it's like a everyone problem.
Exactly. It's a global issue that affects everyone who uses space. So, you mentioned earlier that astronomers were also concerned.
Oh, yes, that's another big concern.
Yeah.
These bright satellites can interfere with astronomical observations.
So it's like, you're trying to see the stars, and then you got like all these little satellites zipping around.
That's exact. It's like having a bunch of artificial stars moving across your field of view.
Yeah, that's got to be annoying.
It can make it very difficult to observe faint objects. And it can also create streaks in long exposure images, which can ruin the data.
So is anything being done to fix that?
Well, SpaceX has been experimenting with different coatings and visors to try to make the satellites less reflective.
Okay.
And there's also ongoing dialogue between the space industry and the astronomical community to try to find solutions that work for everyone.
Right, because, it's like you don't want to stop. Technological progress.
Of course not.
But you also don't want to, mess up our view of the universe.
Exactly. It's about finding a balance.
Yeah.
And being responsible about how we use space.
Okay, so, we were talking earlier about those polar orbits.
Right.
Are there any, unique challenges to launching into a polar orbit?
Well, polar orbits are great for coverage
Right.
because they allow the satellites to pass over every point on Earth,
Yeah.
but they can be a bit trickier to maintain compared to other types of orbits.
Oh, really? How come?
Well, the Earth's gravitational pull isn't uniform.
Oh, yeah.
It's slightly stronger at the equator.
Right.
So satellites in polar orbits are constantly fighting against that extra pull.
So they need, more fuel or something.
Exactly. They need more fuel and more precise maneuvering to stay on track.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely more challenging, but it's worth it for the coverage that you get.
So SpaceX is up for the challenge?
Oh, absolutely. They've got a lot of experience with polar orbit launches.
They've launched this booster 9 times already.
That's right. And it's coming back for its 10th flight.
That's just amazing to me that we live in a time where, reusable rockets are a thing.
I know. It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
Like it used to be. This is science fiction.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the stuff of dreams.
And now it's just routine.
Yeah. SpaceX has really made it look easy.
Yeah. And it's not just SpaceX. There are other companies out there.
Oh, yeah. The private space industry is booming.
Yeah. It's really exciting to see.
It really is a new era of space exploration.
And it's all happening so fast.
The pace of innovation is incredible.
So, what does all this mean for, the future of humanity in space?
Well, that's a big question.
Yeah.
And one that I think we'll be grappling with for many years to come.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think it's safe to say that we're on the cusp of something truly transformative.
Yeah, it feels like we're entering a new era.
Absolutely.
And I can't wait to see what happens next.
Me too.
It's pretty amazing to think that, all of this is possible.
Yeah.
Because of, these reusable rockets.
It's really a game changer.
Yeah.
Like being able to recover and reuse the booster. That drastically reduces the cost of launching things into space.
So that means more opportunities for research and exploration.
Absolutely.
And also, like we were talking about earlier with Starlink,
Right.
it makes it possible to build these huge satellite constellations.
Yeah, it wouldn't be economically feasible to build a network like Starlink
Right.
if you had to throw away a rocket every time you launched a batch of satellites.
It's just mind-blowing to think about.
It really is.
Yeah.
The scale of it.
The pace of innovation in the space industry is just incredible.
Yeah, and it's not just the technology itself, but also the way that it's changing our relationship with space.
Yeah, it's not just about governments and big space agencies anymore.
Right.
Private companies are playing a huge role now.
It feels like that's opening up a lot of new possibilities.
Absolutely. It's democratizing access to space in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Which is really exciting.
But I guess it also comes with some challenges, right?
Oh, definitely. Like we talked about earlier with the space debris and the concerns from astronomers.
Right. Those are serious issues that need to be addressed.
So it's we have to be careful.
Yeah. We need to proceed thoughtfully and responsibly.
Yeah.
And make sure that we're not creating more problems than we're solving.
So, it's finding that balance, right, between innovation and, being responsible.
Sustainability and ethical considerations.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not always easy.
No, but it's important.
Absolutely.
I think we've covered a lot of ground today.
Yeah, we've talked about the upcoming Starlink launch.
Right.
The technology behind reusable rockets.
The challenges and opportunities. of this new era of space exploration.
It's been a fascinating discussion.
Yeah, and I always learn so much from talking to you.
Same here.
So thanks for joining us.
It's been a pleasure.
And thanks to everyone for listening to this deep dive into the world of SpaceX and Starlink.
And until next time, keep looking up.